September 29th, 1861. The Union Army of the Potomac, the principal field army in all the Union forces in the American Civil War, is in retreat. It has just been defeated at the Battle of Second Fredericksburg. Many feel the defeat was not due to a lack of generalship, but rather a lack of manpower. Somehow, the numerically inferior South was able to bring a superior force against the Union main army. The commander of the Union force is General George B. McClellan. He's in a foul mood, having just tasted defeat, a defeat which he feels he did not earn. And so he's writing to the President of the United States, perhaps unwisely, arguably exercising insubordination. His words read, "If I save this army now, I tell you plainly I owe no thanks to you or any other persons in Washington. You have done your best to sacrifice this army." Fortunately for General McClellan, his letter passes through the War Office and through the hands of a young officer who is absolutely shocked by this letter. He feels there must have been an error, there must have been a code, there must be something that he's unaware of, but he can't really be sure. He decides not to pass the letter along. Abraham Lincoln never sees it. And so on October 4th, just a few days later, with the Union Army of the Potomac ensconced at Manassas, now somewhat more secure, Abraham Lincoln writes to General McClellan. Lincoln knows that the Union hasn't supplied the Army of the Potomac with sufficient manpower. He also knows the offensive must be resumed there before long. Richmond had been held by the Union not long ago. The Congress thought the war was drawing to a close. Now it looks like it's only the beginning of a long and protracted conflict. And so Lincoln writes to him, with the goal of bucking up this general's spirits and letting him know that Washington is still on his side. "Save the army, material and personnel, and I will strengthen it for the offensive once again, as fast as I can. The governors of 18 states have offered me another 300,000 recruits, which I gladly will accept. You will receive the lion's share of reinforcement, and I assure you that you will have a force no less than 30,000, perhaps as great as 50,000, in the coming weeks, with which I believe you will be able to counterattack the Confederacy, retake Richmond, and bring a close to this horrible Civil War. At which point this defeat will be but a footnote in your legacy of saving the Union. Godspeed, General, and good luck. Abraham Lincoln, October 4th, 1861, to General George B. McClellan." Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, a grand strategy and tactical war game, which allows you to fight through the American Civil War at both a strategic level, where you're raising armies, assigning commanders, influencing policy, and managing recruitment, while also allowing you to fight through tactical battles when two different armies reach. In our last video, we lost a battle at Fredericksburg. The Army of the Potomac was badly shot up, and we had less than 11,000 infantry coming out of that battle. I have done some reshuffling of the army. We have a new division commander because General Tyler, who was one of the original division commanders under Irvin McDowell, was in fact killed at the Battle of Second Fredericksburg. And so Robert Schenck, who has been commanding effectively a brigade, is now a division commander. You can see his fame is pretty high. His initiative, leadership, administrative, and other stuff like that isn't super good. He's a political soldier, not a pre-war soldier, I don't think. Former member of the House of Representatives, but he's done well for himself so far in this war. We've also consolidated a brigade under Ambrose Burnside. We brought Joseph Hooker's brigade over from the Valley Army. We also brought Michael Cochran's brigade over from the Valley Army, so those two brigades number over 3,600 men combined. And then we consolidated, as I said, a couple other brigades, so each division will now have 3 brigades, and each one of those brigades will have more than 1,600 soldiers. Most of them are 2,000 plus. I think one of the things we really learned from our last battle was that undersized units like Sherman's 1,000 men or so, while they might be nice and experienced and they might be good commanders and good troops, they don't hold up well against Confederate brigades of 2 to 3 times their number. And so we did go ahead and we consolidated a lot of formations. We also brought a couple, or in the process of bringing a couple of new New York brigades down. We had been in the process of raising an army in New York with the intended purpose of raiding the coast of the Confederacy to try and begin closing ports down and really kind of kick a blockade together. But that didn't seem to be in the offing after such a serious defeat. And so Colonel Robert Buchanan's brigade, fresh troops, 2,300 men, and Henry Burton's 2,300 men have both are in the process of being transferred down from New York. In about 5 days, we'll have another 4,000 troops. We're also in the process of raising 2 new artillery batteries. We consolidated 2 of our artillery batteries of 24-pounders and 12-pounders so that we have more guns in them, 11 guns and 6 guns respectively. And we're raising 2 new 12-gun batteries of 6-pound field guns. Actually, I'm going to swap one of those out with Napoleons because 6-pounders are kind of the base gun and they really suck. So we're going to go ahead and swap one of those out with 12-pounder Napoleons. Those will take a little while. Those are going to take about 20 days to raise. And then we're also raising a field artillery battery with 6-pound field guns for the cavalry division, and that'll be another 7 guns. So I really have decided we need to up the artillery complement in the army as well as the manpower. That means we have 21,000 soldiers in our army presently, with another 7,000 or so that are casualties who will slowly trickle back into our formations as the sort of walking wounded and moderately injured, but non-amputees obviously, end up healing and coming back to our ranks. So once everybody's back and healthy, we'll have a force of just shy of 30,000 men in the Army of the Potomac under George B. McClellan. Currently we have 16,000 ready muskets, but once those 2 brigades come down from New York, we'll have 21,000, and then we will get the other 7,000 gradually over time. So that's what we're hopefully going to have to resist the Confederates. I did proceed a few days off camera, and so we did have the Department of Pennsylvania has shifted to Wheeling, Virginia, with about 11,000 men under Major General Robert Patterson. They appear to be about to be attacked by the Army of the Northwest with about 16,000 soldiers, so we may have a battle brewing there. We also are raising an Army of the Ohio under Don Carlos Buell. He's really taken his time to get his troops ready to storm across into Western Virginia and hopefully take that state or that portion of Virginia for the Union. He's raising what will be our largest field army, at least at the moment, of about 30,000 troops. He's got 26,000 men under command right now. He has a brigade of troops coming in 7 days, as well as a cavalry brigade that's being raised that'll be ready in 5 days, and then he'll have 30,000 men, but his readiness is still only mediocre. Meanwhile, Major General Ulysses S. Grant has already taken Charleston, Virginia, as well as Gailey Bridge, Virginia, and you can see his 12,000 men are currently pulling back to get back into Indiana, I think it is, right? Is this Ohio, actually? Yeah, Ohio, sorry. He's pulling back into friendly territory because his provision situation had gotten pretty poor, although it looks like it's getting better now that he's back within range of the Point Pleasant Depot here. So it's kind of humorous to think about, but we are invading Western Virginia with like the full force of the Union Army, an army of 30,000, 11,000, and 12,000 troops. That's, 50,000 men moving into Western Virginia trying to take that portion of the state back to the Union because it'll give us a big morale boost. But that is not even remotely, that's like an Anaconda type plan of like invading Tennessee or invading Virginia in the east that would have that situation. McClellan, meanwhile, is making do. Like, this is the alternate reality where McClellan is right. He's under-resourced and everybody else is over-resourced. But anyway. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, we're also raising troops, or I guess, are we? I can't even remember. We transferred troops from the Kentucky force, which we raised under Major General Sumner to try and relieve other areas. And so we only have 5,000 troops currently under General Sumner in the Army of Kentucky. And then we also have a situation brewing in Missouri where the Missouri State Guard is invading with about 6,000 troops. We have raised some replacements here. About 3,800 will eventually have about 6,000 men under Major General Harney. Their goal, obviously, is to secure Missouri for the Union. But their readiness is kind of low right now. And it looks like this is actually, so Fredericton is in Confederate hands. They're also working on a depot over here. My readiness is really low. I think what we'll do here is we will have Harney fall back to St. Louis to get up to a level 2 depot, or maybe even a level 3 town, to try and get his readiness back up so he can campaign again. So go ahead and have him move back to St. Louis, because that's really the only important city in Missouri as far as, maintaining holding ourselves together. And then we're raising 4 new river-clad gunboats. Currently, they're at 21% completion, but we're raising 4 river-clad gunboats to join the 4 timber-clad gunboats that have already been constructed at Cairo, Illinois. And that's the situation right now, guys. So we're probably about to fight a battle against the Army of the Northwest. The Army of the Tennessee apparently is also in West Virginia here with about 22,000 men. So West Virginia really seems to be sort of a consolidation of a lot of different forces. But let's see what like the 3rd or 4th Battle of Wheeling has in store for us as we go ahead and speed things up and watch the Army of the Northwest take a train right into our front lines. Don't look like they're on. Oh, they're still on trains. The whole train transport mechanic needs to be fixed, because it does not reflect like how they were really used in real life. It's great for transferring armies internally, but you shouldn't be riding trains into battle. Steve, the timber-clad gunboat. Sorry, not river-clad. Hey, Lake, good to see you. Thanks for the resub, by the way. Apparently my alerts are off. Should be fixed now. Okay, so our scouts report the enemy is nearing Wheeling, Virginia, and our army is to prepare for battle. We're facing the Army of the Northwest under the command of George A. Porterfield with a strength of some 17,000 men and 20 guns. The enemy army is green, and their morale is reported to be eager. Their supply situation appears to be outstanding. Vagon, thanks for the prime sub there as well. Appreciate that. That's 15 months now. Definitely appreciate the support. The supply situation of the army is outstanding. Okay, so we're on the defensive. You can see here. It's going to be the Battle of Wheeling. I don't recognize this particular map. I'm not sure if I've ever fought on it before. You can see the objectives are where? There's 2, Soggy Creek and Stollyard Hill. Stollyard Hill being up here in the north. Soggy Creek being down here. And so the AI is going to be lured to these objective points. Ooh, and that's nice. If we zoom in here, you can see nice open terrain and what looks like, is that a stone wall for these men to hide behind? So open fields and stone walls. I like that for a defensive position. The Confederate points of entry into the map are going to be down here, southeast, or... yeah, that's it. That's their only point. So they've got to be coming on the map down here. So they're going to move up this roadway, presumably toward Soggy Creek. They don't even have a roadway up to the north if they wanted to go to Stollyard Hill. So the only logical place is they're going to have to run through Soggy Creek. That's the only roadway. They could divert way off to the west and go up near Peppermill, but I think that's unlikely. The AI is going to take the more direct route. Hey, Decivus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, but welcome. Okay, so let's do the quick thing. We'll deploy the army down here. And then let's zoom in. All right, I believe all of my troops here also have rifled muskets. Yeah, all 4 infantry brigades have rifled muskets, which is awesome. Okay, so the 1st Division under Major General George Cadwalader is going to deploy on the left side of the road here. Actually, we'll deploy 1 brigade on each side of the road. Does look like there's a little bit of an elevation here. Can we deploy one of the artillery batteries here? 24 pound. Let's put the 24 pounders here in between the brigades. And so they'll be under cover also. So we're going to put a battery between these 2 brigades of infantry. And then the 2nd Division, I guess, will just be kind of in reserve on that second. Can I give my troops more training? You can train your troops more, although not like in the middle of a battle. So the 2nd Division under Kilm will be deployed back here. This looks like a hill. I can't really tell. So we'll put one of the batteries over here. And actually, it might not be a bad idea to put one brigade of infantry up here, overlooking the battlefield on the right. This way, this division can move, or brigade can move to the left to secure the left flank if the enemy tries to go around it. And this brigade can come in on the right or straight down the middle. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since my last stream. It's been weeks, really. I mean, honestly, having a new baby, and she's a couple of months old, and she's starting to sleep a little bit longer, but it's been challenging to try and find time to stream. Which, you know, priorities and everything. What I'm not clear on is like what the line of sight is for these guys. Especially this brigade here. So does that house block the line of sight? Like, would they be better off over here? Far right? Or is this hill high enough that they can see over? I wish there was like a simple... I know there's a line of sight tool when you zoom out. You can kind of see like what your men can see. But but I wish for the individual unit there was a better line of sight tool. But anyway... So that's going to be it. Let's go ahead and jump in and actually wait. We should dig in, right? The question is, if you're behind a stone wall, do you benefit from digging like earthworks? Does anybody know? Or would we be better off deploying one of these infantry brigades down here like this and just extending the line, but putting them in entrenchments? That way we'd have 3 brigades. Or we could refuse our line proactively here and then put them in an entrenchment. Or we could put a line of earthworks behind them, but I think that second stone wall kind of does the same thing. So why don't we do this? I don't understand. Like, it makes the noise like it's building the parapet when I do that, but it doesn't. Okay. So we've now refused our flank with a new earthwork there. That allows me to put 3 brigades in theory on the firing line. We could also put one group up here on this fence. Up like on this fence here. Whoops. Oh, I can't deploy that far forward. Oh, never mind. Okay. We also could put some perhaps earthworks for our guns, but I think we'll just leave this as is. Maybe move these guns here. I don't really know what they can see or shoot at. It's not very clear to me. Okay, we'll go ahead and play. So hopefully the enemy comes up this road. I'm anticipating they will. I really would like some rifled guns. Is this really the closest I can zoom in? I thought I could zoom in a little bit closer, but maybe not. Anyway, we'll go ahead and speed things up. It's currently 700 hours, so it's early in the morning. Yeah, Furlough, I actually did a little bit of work on Scourge of War Waterloo. I was on the QA team, and then I did some very minor work on the campaign map. I did not like make the campaign map, but I contributed to some of the text and stuff. Okay, so we own both objectives. We just need to wait for the enemy to show up. So where are they? Come on, Johnny Reb. Fight me. And come right at me. Don't like try and flank near Pepper Mill or anything. I wonder if this fence line would be a better place to make a stand. We could put 3 brigades in line and the enemy would all be coming across the open at us. But our right flank would be much more in the air. Now you could put 3 brigades up along this fence line here, anchor it on this creek, and then you would have like 1 back here on the stone wall so they couldn't flank you. But I think we made the right choice because this is, I believe this is a stone wall that they're behind. What is my, what's my favorite Paradox game? CK3 maybe? Constantinius? I'm looking forward with rapt attention to Victoria 3 because I think my favorite historical era is, oh no, there's a feud. He's a feud with the commander above him, Abner Doubleday. You have a feud with, who's your division commander? William Morris. I would say like my most anticipated era historically is probably like, or not anticipated, but like most interested is probably like the Franco-Prussian War through World War I, mostly because like the Navy stuff, like 1890 to like 1920 from a naval technology perspective is just fascinating. But, so, you know, Victoria is and the industrialization and whatnot. Steampunk Navy is DeWay. I'm not really into like the steampunk stuff. What's my favorite naval battle and why is it Jutland? Jutland is not my favorite naval battle. So I'm a bit of a Age of Sail, like historical fiction nut. And so I would say like my favorite naval battle. Ugh. I don't know what my favorite naval battle is. But I'm a big Hornblower fan of the novels. Oh, enemies in sight. We've opened fire. Looks like this battery was properly sighted. The Virginia Brigade. Let's slow things down. All right, so we've got a lead enemy brigade coming up here, 1,600 men under the Army of the Northwest. That's the first thing we sighted, and our artillery opened fire at like max range. Good on you, boys. Now, these guns don't seem to see anything yet. Oh, I gotta move you up there. I guess I'd rather move these guns over here on the right flank of this stone wall. No, I don't know what that does for like these troops and their situation. Move them over there. Extend the line a bit. Talonsoft Age of Sail 2 was the first game I played a lot of online. I was in a couple of clans. It was well after the game's prime, and it was a very small group of folks left, but I did a lot of online gaming through like Age of, I think it was called like, Virtual Admirals or something like that was the name of the website. And each navy had like their own clan that folks joined, and then they did like simulated wars and battles and whatnot. Still probably the best Age of Sail game. Like Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail is nice, but I would still put Talonsoft's game up there. All right, so artillery's firing at these guys. It looks like they detached 244 skirmishers. And they are shooting at my artillery. Bastards. Let's switch these guys over to long-range fire. And we're going to dispatch some skirmishers of our own to go knock these guys back. We are losing we lost about 8 men. And so now we're engaged with the enemy's skirmishers. I don't know if these guns have a good line of sight on like the enemy or not. Part of me wonders if like they'd be kind of exposed, but would it make sense to put the guns like way out here on the right, so then like if the enemy advances through this open field, we could fire down their flank? All right, so more enemy troops are coming up. So these guys look like they're laying down. We also have an enemy battery of artillery, and it looked like 2 more infantry brigades. I can't see many more coming up. My skirmishers are blazing away. 22 casualties for the enemy. I like fighting this game in ×2 speed. So we've got the edge in the skirmisher battle so far. And the artillery battery will continue to fire at the enemy. Can we put this battery in the middle of the road? This. Come over here. No, I don't know. That's probably a bad idea. Leave these guys on the freaking stone wall. I just don't know what to do with this battery of artillery. Elevation wise, I'm not sure where they can fire over the heads of my own troops. Maybe put them on this hill over here. Off to my right, but that's kind of exposed. Yeah, I guess we'll just put them over there. They're going to be all pissed off at me. You want me to go over here? You want me to come back over here? All right, so we drove the enemy skirmishers back. 48 casualties on their end. Order the skirmishers back to their boys. Retrieve your skirmishers, lads. I don't want them sitting out there and getting obliterated out there on their own. Get them back into cover. "24-pound howitzers go boom." Are they not technically on the wall anymore? Okay. Smith's Brigade and then Stovall. Looks like the battery of artillery back there. No sign of where the enemy might be. There were several brigades back up this way. I suppose they could be using the ford and trying to go around our flank. But we're on one of the objectives, so they should be lured to us. Let's go ahead and speed things back up. Okay, they might actually be coming up to our left. That. And is there... There's elevation here. Well... I'm so indecisive on how to use my artillery. But it looks like the enemy may try and break my left flank, so I'm going to go ahead and move this artillery up over here. And then we're going to move a brigade of infantry to the left of our line. We're going to move George Winkrup's brigade here into this crop area. See if we can build any, like, breastworks while we wait for the enemy to come up. Oh boy, A lot of artillery fire all over here. You can see an enemy bombardment forming up. Not really sure. I ordered them to build breastworks. Looks like they are. Nice! So we'll move back to ×2 speed. It does look like they're building breastworks as we try and refuse our flank. I am not expecting reinforcements. 5 losses. This battery's been subject to enemy bombardment. 7th got hit by one of the enemy shots. But our casualties have been pretty light under this enemy artillery so far. The enemy infantry outnumbers us though, so to attack them would be foolish. I think one of their brigades and artillery batteries did go to the other side of the river. So refusing our line here may have been smart. Forming this artillery up here on the heights to fire down the flank of any enemy advance that might try and go around our left flank. These boys are currently still constructing their barricades. They've taken 7 casualties. Their flank is a little bit open to enemy artillery. But we'll go ahead and speed up. The enemy has just decided to bombard us for the moment. And we're shooting back. I don't get why sometimes I can zoom in further than others in this game. There doesn't, like, the map gets sticky, or it doesn't want me to zoom in further sometimes. I know you can zoom in closer. I've done it. We did it just a minute ago, but I can't. It won't let me zoom in any closer than this. Okay, so they have finished their construction, I think. Maybe it's just certain. I don't know. I rotated the map and now I can. So you can see they're behind breastworks now that they've constructed. That should help them on the defensive. So, a lot of enemy artillery. I wouldn't say they're hurting us too badly, but we're all wasting a lot of ammo. Oh, and these guns up here on this hill now, they can shoot back too, so I've got an additional 8 guns in the fight here to go with the 9 guns forward. No, it doesn't seem to be, like, I can't zoom in now, again. But if I go back over here, I wonder if it'll let me zoom in again. Yeah. It's like map angle. That's weird and janky. Alright, enemy brigade coming forward here. Hood's brigade. Hood's Texas boys. The Rebs have a superiority in, at least in terms of numbers of guns. But it doesn't seem to be doing anything to the morale of my troops. And the 3rd Pennsylvania opens up with their... Let's go back to ×2 speed. 3rd Pennsylvania opens up with their rifled or Springfield rifled muskets. Just by the way, guys, I renamed all of my infantry units after the states they're from. So I looked through all my units between the last video here, and we are now basing all of our units on sort of numerical, just to sort of keep, I guess, units straight a little bit more easily. I may do things like name the 2nd Wisconsin or something after the Iron Brigade. I don't know. But anyway, we're engaging in volley fire with the enemy here. Hood's brigade in the open. Pelham has also come forward, so it's a 3-brigade front, actually 5-brigade front. Slocums, Steels. So they're going to keep pushing forward. I don't know if Hood's trying to melee or what. He's sure closing the gap. Our artillery's lost a few casualties here. We're definitely in canister range now. But we're flanked by the enemy infantry directly to our front. And it looks like we're going to be in a melee. I can't imagine they'd break through a stone wall backed infantry unit here. Our artillery might actually get routed, though. They're losing pretty heavy casualties. I don't know if deploying them in the line of battle the way we did was wise. Oh, God. And I have no infantry in reserve. So if these guys do break me... The enemy's lost about twice our number. We also outnumber them by about 500 men, but both sides are inside the wall. Artillery's about to break. Have they even shooting at anyone? Just says they're idle. And there they go. Well, that was annoying. Oh, no. Yeah, the Stonewall Brigade's getting cover. It looks like the Confederates are getting cover bonus as well. Like, I'm imagining the two brigades are on opposite sides of the stone wall and peeking their heads up and shooting at each other. Alright, you guys shoot over here on Walton's brigade. No reason for you guys to hold your fire. Morris is losing men. The enemy's charging me too. That one at least looks like it triggered a melee fight. Dear God. Which one's Morris anyway? Morris must have been the artillery. Alright, so we drove this brigade back, Walton's brigade. I didn't even lose all that many men. I've never seen this before. I've never seen the Confederates just go on in for the charge. This is weird. Alright, so we drove those two... Oh, shit, they're right in front of you. Why did I do that? I clicked the wrong frickin' button. Oh boy. Alright, so Hood's brigade got driven back with heavy loss. Okay, so we're gonna win this thing. The Virginia brigade's being driven back too. This unit, presumably the Loring's brigade, is losing heavily to the 8th battery firing right down their lines. Okay, so that makes sense, Steve. If the howitzers have a firing arc they can't shoot through because, well, just because of the nature of how a howitzer works. Alright, the enemy army's retreating. Yeah, like, I can only zoom in when the map orientation is a certain way. That's so obnoxious and weird. Alright, I don't think the enemy actually lost too many casualties. Some of those brigades attacking on my right flank were not losing that many men despite being driven back. Also, why can't we fire volleys on enemy troops that are retreating? I want to just butcher them. I don't want to let them escape. Can we melee them? I want to force them to surrender. Which I feel like would be more likely to occur in the event that you force them to melee. Not the gentlemanly thing to do. Oh, that's a good... So because howitzers fire on that arc, that like long lofting arc trajectory, do they not have canister then? I don't know a lot about howitzer artillery. It was a little bit dated by the time of the Civil War. Alright, just wreck Loring's brigade then. I fought one battle earlier in the series, Foliar, where I did manage to get one of my own brigades to surrender and an enemy brigade to surrender, and I had to do it before either brigade broke. We had to get into melee combat. And basically, like, then the enemy tries to retreat, but they're too close to you, and something happens and it triggers a surrender. That's the only way I was able to do it. Let's speed things up here. Enemies retreating. We've won the day. Just a matter of inflicting more casualties as best we can. So these guys are not destroyed. They're falling back though, so they're still firing back, and we're firing at them as we chase them. It's a pretty good amount of ammo. I'd say about like a quarter of our ammo in most of these units. And there you go, victory. So that was a pretty good victory for us. The enemy lost 4,100 casualties out of 19,000. We lost 1,600 out of 11,000. So actually about 1,700 if you include the artillery. We lost 11 of our 18 guns, so our artillery did lose pretty heavily. But in terms of infantry losses, 3-1, almost. Better than 2-1. Enemy lost about a quarter of their army. We did not. So there you go. A defensive victory at the Battle of Wheeling. I think that's like the third or fourth victory at Wheeling. Howitzers did have canister. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that footage is from the Gettysburg reenactment, 150th. They did partner with Lion. Is it Lionheart Filmworks or something like that? Or Lion something, which does a lot of like historical reenactment footage for documentaries and other things like that. So that's where you get a lot of those like cut scenes between Lion Gate. That's it. All right. So another minor victory. Oh, I didn't look. We lost 254 killed, 250 missing. They lost 592 killed, so quite a few more killed. I'm not curious what they... I'm not curious. I am curious what they lost missing. We don't know. Morale's confident with a mediocre supply situation, and we captured almost 2,000 rifles from the battlefield. Here's what I don't know. Do the rifles that you capture ever translate into anything you can equip your own troops with? Because they should, but I don't know that they do. I don't ever I don't go back in and see like, oh, now you've got one brigade worth of Springfields or Richmonds or whatever. All right, everybody, and that's going to do it for this episode of Grand Tactician, the Civil War. Yet another look at the upcoming game, which comes out on September 24th of this year, so just a couple of weeks or a little bit over a week away. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was obviously taken from a live stream from my Twitch channel. Been a little while since the last time I streamed, but I did decide to go ahead and stream this episode, and so that's why there was a little bit of back and forth with the audience. I hope it was entertaining. I talked about some Grand Tactician related items, but I think it was an interesting battle and a victory, and we got to see us sort of, I think a little bit more strategically, or maybe more tactically, I guess would be the better appreciation of the map, though. Like looking at the map of the battlefield, finding a good choke point, setting up a defense there, and defeating the enemy, and it was a good result for us, I think. So we'll see how the campaign progresses in the future, but for now, we're back on the right foot again, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down below, and as always, until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm out.